and welcome back to Warrior Moms. This is Michelle.
And I'm Amy.
And today we are going to talk about parenting while grieving. It is something that is a journey all of its own, isn't it?
Oh, gosh, yes. It's a different heart.
Yeah, it really is. This journey is just overwhelming and, as we talked about last week, very physical.
And it doesn't just affect us.
Yeah,
it affects
kids are
everybody that's close to our children, including their siblings, which are our other children.
right.
And sometimes I feel like my children kind of, for a while, got lost because I couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, we were having our own hard time just getting out of bed, right?
Yes.
And yet life still continues, right?
It still continues. People still need food.
Right.
People still need showers.
Right.
You
Walk us through kind of the lens of thinking about Layla and those first
weeks. So it was May.
Mhm.
Layla was in first grade. She was 7 years old. We were close there to the end of school.
Mm-hmm.
She actually missed a whole week of school once for the funeral, once we found out, and all that kind of stuff. So she missed that week of school, and she did go back, and she was ready to go back, I think, because she had such good friends, and
Right.
school was a happy place for her.
Uh-huh.
We had so many people coming in and out of our house. She got to go to friends' houses, and that's kind of what I had to do there at the beginning, especially was my mom was there. She went to school. She had play dates, more and more and more, and play dates to her at 6 years old, 7 years old is the cat's meow.
Right.
And
did you set that up, or did other people offer that for you?
They would offer it.
Yeah.
They would just say, let me get Layla today. Let me get Layla on Tuesday after school.
Crucial.
Yes, or Saturday afternoon. And that I had a great group of moms that surrounded me during that time. And even people that you wouldn't expect to jump in.
Yes.
I mean, you know them, and
Right.
but they might not have ever had been the one to say, "Hey, let Layla come over and make cookies today," or "Let
Right.
Layla come over and swim." But they went out of their way to do it, and I appreciated it.
Oh, I mean, it's just, it is a gift that you just never knew you needed.
Never knew I needed, and only certain people could do that for me.
And it was so important for them,
Yes.
And I think also it's just good for us moms to remember our kids need that. It's I think our gut reaction to just shut the world down, and that includes everything for your children too. Like, oh gosh, no, we can't do that.
No.
And life has to continue for kids.
It has to continue. And then,
and we've learned that firsthand, but then we've read about it too to help ourselves.
Yes, and listen to everything. And during the summer, Layla went to all the camps I could find, and she went to my parents' house for a week. So I was able to just do nothing. And literally, I did nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which you needed.
I needed that. I needed the nothing. And she was entertained, and I knew she was taken care of.
Yeah.
So that was always good. What about Greta?
I remember, it was August 1st, and school was just getting ready to start, and she was starting third grade. She was 8. And in third grade, they get lockers for the first time.
Oh,
and so it was a big deal to decorate your locker and, have all the fun stuff for it. And the counselor at the school reached out and said, hey, I have an idea. I think having Greta come back, because they were allowed to come to the school and decorate their locker, meet their teacher, see the classroom, and then leave. So it was just this cute little activity for third graders. And she's like, that might be overwhelming to have everybody see her. I already talked to her third grade teacher, and she said it would be great if Greta came in the afternoon. And so it gave Greta and I this opportunity. We went shopping and got all the little stuff, and, it was quiet in the halls, but her teacher, immediately came out, walked us around the classroom, and just amazing serendipity is, I've talked about how Carter's number was number 4, and we go into the classroom, and she's showing Greta around, and she says, well, and she's down at Greta's level, and she says, honey, here's where your desk is. And next to Greta's name was a number 4. And we thought, oh my gosh, of course, I immediately start crying, and Greta looks at me like, Mom.
She didn't realize, she didn't put it together.
Well,
yeah.
And we thought she did it purposefully. And so then she shows us, oh, well, here's your marker bin, and it had number 4 and all this stuff.
She was number 4 in the alphabet.
Number 4. And both Greta and I are teared up, and her teacher was like, what? And we're like, Carter was number 4, thank you. And she was like, oh gosh, I didn't do that. And then Greta looks at me and she says, Mom, last year I was number 12. So it was so cool. And that and so
Carter was with her all year, but
Miss
she
Stovall,
knew
she's like, well, I know exactly what to do. And she goes over and grabs, so everything was written in black Sharpie, but she grabs a red Sharpie. And she goes, we're going to go around, and you're going to help me do this. And she said, let's draw a little red heart next to that number 4.
Aww.
And so it was so sweet. But it was, people stepping up. People did the same thing, like having play dates and picking her up and taking her.
And she went willingly? Was she
did.
ready to go?
Like you said, people that she didn't know that offered, that was a hard no for her.
Yeah.
She was definitely... she's definitely more introverted, and that would have been a hard thing to do prior to losing Carter. But the kids that she knew well, that was something that was a great reprieve.
Yes.
Yeah, really good for her.
Well, and I know normally, if you have, Susie's going to come over this week, and then next week you'll go to Susie's house. Yeah. I did not reciprocate.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
For months.
Yeah. I think her very first... maybe it's not funny. I don't even know. It was definitely not until her birthday, honestly, which was in February, that before we even
could muster up enough
having kids at our house.
Well, and it's kind of
fun.
I'm sure you figured this out too, but I did not know this. But children grieve differently than adults do. We're sitting here in our life doing, not being able to get out of bed or not eating or whatever, but they grieve differently. And it's not just kids, over the age 18 grieve this way and adults grieve that way. At different stages, even babies, school age, teenagers, they all have different ways of showing their grief, along with there's also different ways that they need to deal with their grief.
Yeah. And yes. In fact, I read something recently that says bereaved children and teenagers will need ongoing attention, reassurance, and support. It is not unusual for grief to resurface later on, even well after the death.
Well, that's interesting because Layla begs for all the attention and she has so much of that.
Yeah.
What about Greta?
She doesn't crave attention, and I think that is just part of her personality, but that is something that I think, that is just really hard about parenting while you're grieving is, but for Greta, she really went inside of her head. She was already more introverted, but she really lost her voice. She did,
Now, how old was she? Remind me.
Yeah, so she was 8, and she, to us and to, my sisters, my niece, a couple of her little friends, she could be silly and goofy and,
she was Greta.
She was Greta. But, at school with teachers, you would ask a question and she would just smile sweetly, but barely be able to answer one word.
Her voice was way too low.
Yeah.
She couldn't even.
Right.
Yeah.
And, and so that started, of course, right away in 3rd grade. And she's now 15, but truly it was just in the last year and a half that she's able to string multiple sentences together for people that she's not really close to. Even when we go home to South Dakota and she, loves my family dearly, it will take her several days of her just acclimating before she can really answer in long sentences and be silly and just show her side of herself. And, that support is so hard to give when your tank is beyond empty.
Yes. And that's where Layla would be always there.
Yeah.
Always needing a hug and love. And just, I mean, she was just insecure
Yeah.
about us leaving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, real, true fears. For sure.
Real, true fears. It's anxiety and fears. And they were real.
And have you seen that continue?
It's still
Layla?
there.
Yeah.
And now, right now, it's even stronger for some reason.
Well, hormones kick in.
Who knows?
Well, we see that, as a teacher, we see that whatever, challenges a kid has, once those kids get, into this age of puberty, it forces all of it even
all
further.
Of it crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to know that
Yeah.
because she's started 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And she's 11 years old now, and she does a lot of these things, and they have reared. They will kind of slow down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
same.
So it's interesting.
I mean, and Greta would have these panic attacks, and it could be about. One time she was heading up to Michigan and something she was so excited about to spend time with her cousins up there. And she had, I had helped her pack. And then she took everything out, repacked them a different way, took everything out again, packed it a whole, third way.
Yeah.
And then I came in and she was just a puddle and just bawling and crying. And she could not verbalize what was wrong. I thought it was because she was scared and nervous. No, that's not it,
Yeah.
Well,
and that's interesting.
That's a challenge.
Yes, and that's interesting you say that too, because I found out real early on that Layla needed play therapy. Because there again, those children, they can't verbalize.
Right.
They're still trying to figure out left from right.
Right. Yeah.
They don't know what's going on in their emotions. So they do play therapy. Literally, she would go in there and make slime.
Right. Greta did the same with her school counselor. I mean, they had a dollhouse that the counselor's like, well, I've been wanting to do this. This would be a great thing to do with Greta. And she got to help order and pick out the dolls that they'd have for it, and do that through therapy.
Yeah. And that was crazy to me.
Yeah.
But it's true, because I just think you just go in there and sit and talk.
Right.
That's what adults do.
Right.
And that's where babies, like I said earlier, every age and stage, they're different. Like babies and toddlers, some of their reactions are crying more, being more irritable. I mean, the same thing I did, right?
Right.
They still look for that person because they can't comprehend that they're not coming back.
And that's so painful for us, right?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Because you just want to be able to give your kids anything and everything, especially when they're sad.
Oh, yes.
And to try and help them understand that is so difficult. What were some of the things that helped, think about, what, like some of these strong emotional bursts that Layla maybe has had? What are some things that you've done that's helped with that?
I'm going to have to ask you that question first so you can give me some ideas.
I think, like, for me, of course, being, a teacher and going through all sorts of, trainings about the brain, truly is like trying to switch their brain from that emotional response to something logical. I mean, I have Greta, when she is in a big panic, we do breathing exercises. We'll look around and ground ourselves. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you touch? What do you taste? I've even had her write the alphabet backwards. I'll give her math problems, and it's just to switch out of that strong emotional response to just calm, and I'll say, we're going to do this, and it feels really strange. It's okay. Take some breaths, but this is going to help us get through that.
One of the things, Layla has irrational fears. One of her big ones was being in the shower upstairs, in the bathroom upstairs, that somebody was going to kidnap her out of the shower.
Yeah.
But there was no way that they were going to be able to get in there.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of where we would have to talk her down.
Right.
Is what's the percentage of that actually happening? Have you ever heard of that happening? First off. And so what are the percentages that
right.
it could,
Trying to,
let's rationalize
get to
it.
that logic side of the brain.
And I do the same thing. I have these irrational fears as well. And so I learned it from her counselor.
Right.
That let's talk me down off this ledge of how reasonable is that fear.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're not, but it's just where our brain goes.
Mm-hmm. And I know I try to tell Greta, like if I'm getting ready to have one of my own anxiety attacks of just trying to verbalize what I'm going through. I'm so worried about this and this and this. And here's what I'm going to try and do so that I can picture how I can work myself through that.
Well, we do talk about those type of things a lot in our house.
Yeah.
With, I have to be vocal with my husband. I have to be vocal with Layla.
Right.
And it's just, I need a minute sometimes.
Yeah.
Or, Mom, are you sad? Yeah, I am.
Yeah, just being honest. And I think that is one of the messages I know both you and I have read about is, not hiding our grief from our children, being able to talk through it. Some of it you and I have talked about, like where we go
to be age appropriate.
It
right. Needs to be age appropriate.
Right.
And
they don't need to be hearing all the horrific sobbing that we do necessarily.
That 3-year-old needs to hear something different than the 13-year-old.
Right. Yes.
But something that was common in all of the ages that I remember reading was tell them that it's not their fault. Because a lot of times,
that's a good one.
Because a lot of times the kids, especially young, and I remember Layla's counselor saying she needs to hear there was nothing you could have done. There was nothing you did.
That's so good.
It's not your fault.
That chokes me up, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah. Because for some reason, young children, that's where their brain goes, is they think,
if I would have done this.
Yeah. I should have. Yeah. Layla's big thing is, I didn't give him a hug when he left the last time I saw him.
I know.
Because he had dinner with us at the house, and I gave him a hug, and I remember it, just like it was yesterday, and he was like, bye, Lay. And she was like, bye. Just a typical Thursday night.
Exactly.
So,
and talking through that for sure. What are some things that you do to help Layla still feel connected to Alec?
We told a story about him every night. Every night before she went to bed, I would tell her an Alec story. Yeah. And, he was a character, and he was a spunky, funky little boy, So a lot of them would make her laugh. Yeah. So we would have joyous memories, and I know that sharing. And
would you tell it through the tears in those?
Sometimes, not really.
Yeah, because you knew what you were gonna. You knew that was coming every night.
Every night it was the thing, and and it was. Let me have an Alex story.
Yeah.
But that was kind of how we turned her sadness at night, because of course when she's going to bed, 7, 8, 9-year-old wants to go to bed, So there's always a procrastination.
Right.
So that was kind of that definitive of, okay, where's your Alex story? But it was the sadness. I'm going to tell you a funny story about Alex. Yeah. But it did get aggravating because after a year, you run out of stories.
Right. Yeah.
And some nights you're just angry. Not at her.
Right.
But just your emotions are different. And so it would get hard sometimes because she wouldn't let it go.
Right.
And thankfully Jeff would come in or
tag you're it.
Yeah, tag you're it. What she wouldn't let go mainly was, you already told me that one.
Oh gosh.
We have old brains. We can't remember all the stories. So after about
it's just a good story.
After about a year and a half, I ran out of stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then it would turn into, what do you think Alec would do with whatever it was? Maybe something happened that day. Like during COVID, it was a big thing. Oh, Alec would have hated this. What would Alec have done?
Bring him into today.
Yeah. We talk about a lot of that.
And that takes a lot of strength for y'all to do, like for each of us to do, to be able to do that. But putting that practice into place, it does normalize it, and it does then, it becomes joyful and silly and part of the normal
everyday life.
And Greta's friends know, we talk about Carter all the time. They laugh right along with us as if they know Carter, and her friends now
it's great.
don't know.
That's
Carter.
what helps everybody.
And one of the things we did is we have a bench at a local park, and I decided we had these cute little videos from that past Thanksgiving of Greta and Carter throwing a football, and Carter would mock her, and at one point he's holding the iPad, and and it's running and bouncing, and it's capturing this sassy Greta. And then she takes the next little video. She takes the iPad, and then she's, videotaping him. And so I decided, well, let's get your friends together. And we had, just an event at the bench. And we did little crafts, and they decorated rocks, and they watched these 2 videos. I talked briefly, but just talked about Carter and Greta. And then she showed these 2 videos. And then they painted the rocks, and off they went running to hide them different places. And I thought, gosh, we could do this every year. So I asked her if she wanted to. And the next year it was ugly sweaters, and we had hot chocolate. And so, we've just continued that tradition and tried to come up with different
Well, and it's a great
themes.
way for her to introduce. Like, I know each year she probably makes new friends.
She does, yes.
And it's a great way to introduce Carter in a fun, unscary way. Because I know sometimes Layla's had friends over and they're like, well, where's he? And she's like, well, he's in heaven. You know, that whole conversation
I know,
that we had 2 weeks ago.
And it's helpful too for, because the moms and a couple dads, but they would drive, the kids to meet us there, and they get to hear me telling the story, seeing the reaction of the kids. And that helps to just normalize grief in general. Yeah. We all carry grief, and it's good for all of us just to show it. We can talk about it, right?
Here's the thing. We're being 2 moms, and we're talking about how we're helping our children.
Yeah.
Through this.
Right.
A lot of times we put ourselves on the back burner.
Yes.
So what are some things that you do or that you've heard of other people doing that help them to be good parents?
Yeah.
Or just be a stronger mom.
I think finding support groups, like us finding warrior moms has been so beneficial, because all the things that I maybe would be talking about at home, about, painful parts about this grief journey, I'm now sharing with moms who also have been on this journey. And then when I come home, I can tell some of the silly stories of what we've done or whatever it is, but I come back and I'm refreshed. I'm ready to...
But it's almost like it builds up.
Yeah.
And you have to let it out.
Right.
And I don't know, because when you try to explain it to your husband, or I'll say me, he wants to fix me.
Yeah.
And you don't want to tell your child, because then they worry about you.
Right.
Layla she just wants me to be good.
Yeah. One of the things
I don't want her to feel like she has to care for me and take care of me.
Greta so Jeremy went to residency 2 years after we lost Carter in Columbus, Georgia, which was 2.5 hours south, right? So it was Greta and I, and all of a sudden she started, and she would, right after losing Carter, she would sleep in our bed many nights. But
Layla
especially,
still does.
Yeah, and especially
Layla's back in my bed, and that's crazy, right?
But it does. It comes and goes.
I think a lot of people do that.
She was in bed with me most nights, and one night I had, it was probably, I don't know, maybe year 2 of Jeremy being gone, and I had gotten up and I was going to have, a good cry in the bathroom, and I was trying to be quiet, and I came back to bed, and she was like, Mom, were you crying? Yeah, honey, I'm just having a really sad day. And she said, I'm so sorry. And I said, honey, I'm okay. Like, because even when I'm sad, I'm still okay.
Yes.
It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be mad. All of these things. I just, some days are just going to be harder just for you. And she said, you really are okay? And I said, I'm okay. She says, okay, is it okay if I sleep in my own bed? I was like, oh my gosh.
Just like she was in the bed for you.
She was in bed. And I had no idea that's, I of course internalized it that she needed
you.
She needed me. But no, she was there to make me feel better because her dad was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are. These kids are resilient, and they are older than what they are. What is it? Wise beyond their years.
Right.
All of them.
Yeah. So I think, the major takeaways really are trying to continue to talk about our kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think, don't shut down the world, not only for ourselves, but for our kids.
Mm-hmm.
For us, with the crime that happened with Carter, it was really scary, and it's still scary. Greta's getting ready to be able to drive on her own, and that's something that I have to, we have to parent them for who they are.
Who they are.
Not be.
Not,
Right. And of course, we're going to think about those things and be more cautious and so forth, but we still have to try to find ways to give them their freedom that they would have had if this hadn't happened. Yeah. And it is hard.
To allow them to be their own person. I mean, just like we discipline the children different
growing
up.
Right.
You raise them different, and
So last kind of topic maybe is, what are some things when you think about this journey of parenting with Layla, what are some things you're really proud of?
I'm proud that we do events to honor Alec, and that she is a part of it. She helps put it together. You would think it was her birthday party.
Yeah. Just is so much fun for her.
Yes, so much fun. That is something that I think that she is serving. Mm-hmm. She has a servant's heart. She's able to serve and plan parties.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you?
Yeah, I would say I'm really proud of just the way we find joy each day and talk about it, share about it. Like we had said, try to bring Carter into today, thinking about sharing, just our thoughts. Well,
like during COVID.
Right, during COVID.
What would he have done?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
You would have hated that or whatever.
Exactly. And then also being proud of just also focusing and celebrating what makes Greta.
Yeah.
Having her own things that she loves to do outside of course, her brother.
Yeah.
And I think waking up every day, I'm proud of that, of finding the space and time to be, the best parent I can be for that day.
And that is, we just take it day by day.
Yeah.
We take it day by day. And you always have mom guilt. I remember my mom telling me growing up, she'll still say it, well, I'm just giving you something else to talk about in therapy.
Right.
So we didn't cover the handbook.
Right.
These babies did not come with a handbook, and I sure as hell know that there's not a handbook for this either.
Gosh, yeah, because it's all so different.
It's all so different.
Every one of us.
And I go back to something else my mom has said is that we're making the right decision at the time with the information that we have.
Right.
And that's all we can do is, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. And
that's right.
And
face the day.
Face the day and pray that our children do see, and that is something else that I'm proud of, is that she does see me getting up and going and doing. And she makes fun of me for taking naps, but she knows that I have to rest. And so she does see that self-care component of I am important too. And I hope that she takes that with her the rest of her life.
Right.
To take care of herself and be the strongest person that she can be.
Right. And I think that just made me think of something that we could leave people with, our journal entry, our thinking for the night is, almost like draw 2 columns on a piece of paper and what are some things that are really hard currently, and listing those things that we can see our children are really grieving with and dealing with. But then on the right side, what are you currently proud of? Like find 3 things that
because you are doing something right.
Yeah.
Regardless of how bad we feel, how bad we feel we're doing.
Right.
We are doing something right.
Right. I mean,
I promise.
Exactly. Yes.
So I like that. Find 3.
Find 3.
Find 3. And then it'll be interesting to look back at it in a year.
Yeah. And add to it.
Yes.
Because it's amazing how it does
I have evolved,
grow and evolve. Yeah. That's a good way to say it.
Well, we just want to thank y'all so much for being here.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Right,
until next time.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.